Today we talk to Brad and Pete, who are surf friends. Their new album, Sonic Waves, was just released on Flying Nun, and so we catch the duo just after their record release show at Auckland's Thirsty Dog.
The old man told me never grow up. I think I now have grown up.
The new album is Sonic Wave. When did you start thinking about making this, and what kind of discussions the two of you have about what you wanted this to be?
Yeah, I guess probably 2019, Pete? We started thinking about it. We had a few, because we kind of non-stop jam. We never have periods where we're just not doing anything really. Even though there's periods in terms of us being documented, there'll be periods where we haven't played a show in 2 years or a year and a half or whatever. But through that time, we're always jamming because it's super fun,
Right.
So we have all these, and a lot of the time we just record. Sometimes it might just be on your phone or whatever. And we're non-stop have this kind of selection of ideas and stuff. So from that, we kind of go through when we're looking at should we do an album, we look through a lot of those recordings. There'd literally be 100 of them, and then from that start going, shit, this is pretty cool, and start and the other thing is a lot of time, because we have the drum machine or sample of the drums, it's perfect BPM. So I could figure out what the BPM is, create a new beat, and then play it exactly over the top. And then sometimes in my recording, the first track's this raw as phone clip from some jam in Parnell or something. And that's the first track, and then everything layers over that.
Right.
And then, so we kind of build off that. From there, we then started going, shit, actually, we're probably heading towards an album here. And then I guess what themed with this on Sonic Waves was we wanted to be a little bit rawer, and I used a distortion amp that was my first amp that a guy, Jeremy Toy, that plays in a few bands.
Oh yeah.
He was my guitar teacher when I was little. He gave me that amp pretty much, sold it to me for $30 or something. It's got a killer distortion channel, so we don't normally do that much distortion in the recording. Normally it's added afterwards, so that was a little bit different. And we kind of just want it to be a little bit rawer. It's still clean, but that was one conscious thing that we had with this record. Yeah.
Very cool. So what kind of things did you learn from Jeremy? Did he give you any other information? I mean, he's been around making records and been part of the scene for quite a number of years. So did he impart wisdom on you?
I mean, he didn't have anything to do with this record,
right.
But he influenced me massively when I was little. The guitar teachers I had before him, it was very much this is a Red Hot Chili Peppers song, and this is whatever, whereas he was this is She Had La La Land, this is some pretty different stuff. So he was a pretty big influence actually on me, and I know he influenced a lot of other people from the take he had with his guitar lessons. Yeah. He probably doesn't realize how much he actually influenced me. He taught me a couple scales that I use in heaps of the songs as well, actually, across all our records. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So the album starts with a tune called Whirling Hiss. Why is that at the beginning of the record?
Sweet name, for starters. Whirling Hiss. Just sounds like a brilliant sort of crazy scenario, in a good way.
Yeah. I reckon it's cool having instrumental as the first track.
Right.
And it kind of is just a lot of wish-wash of noise coming in and out from no drums to drums. And it's a little bit influenced by a band called Whirling Hiss, which is sort of why I call it Whirling Hiss.
I get it. It all makes sense now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never heard of Whirling Hiss. Who are they?
I think it's a band from the States, sort of a one-man think it's a solo guy. He does
Yeah.
perform with a band, but he does do like quite a lot of lo-fi solo recordings. It's quite
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
The track "Run from the City." Check that out.
Okay.
That's the one.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, true.
That's you'll see. Like, yeah, it's a good track. Eh?
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
just like a jammy sort of.
I think he's on Drag City Records, which is a pretty cool.
That's a cool label. Yeah.
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 All right. And you did you released kind of Something Real. There's a video and single. What spurred you on to choose that tune?
Feel the rhythm, feel the vibe. Gotta do something real. Feel the rhythm, feel the vibe. Gotta do something real. Feel the rhythm, feel the vibe. Gotta do something real. Feel the rhythm, feel the vibe. Gotta do something real.
Yeah, that's one that was a little bit different for us. Where a lot of our tracks we collaborate massively together, whereas that one was largely fully written by me, which is a little bit rare. And
I remember Brad's like, "Oh, I've got this track," because we're going through listening to all sorts of stuff that we've sort of recorded and what we want to put on the album. And you start from a sort of a bigger pool, and then you sort of work way down to sort of a few tracks that you like as a combination. And yeah, he presented this track. He's like, "Oh, check this out. I wrote this a month or so ago, and we've been working on it for a little bit." And yeah, I was like, "That is definitely going on the record if you want it on." Like, it is. Yeah.
We had to finish it off together, but yeah, it was like kind of presented the track, which was a bit new. Yeah. It is also, it links to the album in a way because the theme of the song's sort of about like making time to do stuff consciously rather than just like watching TV and getting into those traps. Because a lot of the record for us, and certainly for me with the kids and that, is those moments where like, you know, you should probably go to bed in 30 minutes or whatever. So you're like, oh, it's not really enough time to like play guitar or whatever. I'll just like watch something on Instagram or YouTube and like, and I think like getting the record done, a lot of it actually was those 30-minute windows, me being like, oh man, you know, I'm going to get the guitar out and just like do that track quickly, you know, and then like it's enough time. And then you do that 4 nights a week and all of a sudden you've like nailing it, you know? So it's sort of something for me, it was like doing something real, like making music, but for other people it could be something different, you know. But it made me really realize the traps of social media and TV shows and stuff, how you can just like get caught by it and time just disappears, you know.
Yes, social media thing is still weird. I'm an older guy, so I mean I'm on it and I've never had a problem with it, you know. I have a friend of mine, he's similar age to me, he's getting thrown off all the time.
Totally.
It's different engaging with these wackos.
Social media is all good if you're kind of using it right, I suppose. But I guess that for me anyway, the test is like, have I just emerged from like, how long have I been just like scrolling? Oh, that's cool. Just clicking on, and you're just watching stuff you'd never watch. You're like, it's all right. But there's better stuff I would want to watch that means more to me. Yeah, that's the test. Probably could have gone for a run in that time. I'd be a bit fitter, which is probably good for me.
To me, everything in that was like the ultimate was like pre-social media, when everyone was using iTunes and you had like a digital music collection and it was just the internet, because at that point you were like, if you were going to a website, you were actively choosing to go to it. You were like being like, I want to go to this surfing website to watch a surfing movie, or I want to go here to see music or whatever. But the social thing, it almost chooses it for you. You know?
Well, it does.
You're like, what's it going to throw at me?
But that's
whoa, a guy like surfing with a dog. Shit. You know,
I mean, it does work sometimes. Though. It's amazing how often you're just like presented with something. You go, "Ooh, actually, I really like that." I think.
It's
kind of scary.
Yeah, you have to recognize that. There is a flip side, which is good as well.
And it helps you guys. I mean, that's one way for people to discover you. So.
Definitely, for sure.
Yeah, that is one.
So you guys are on
crazy nowadays.
Flying Nun now, right?
That's right. Yeah. Since 2011, 2012.
Oh, it's been a while.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because Flying Nun has a specific kind of image to certain people, especially overseas. Do you find that you
Yeah.
have to kind of explain yourself that we're not a chills, but we're who we are?
Yeah. It's I think it's become normal for us because it's been a while. Certainly the first few years we were like, oh man, like are we worthy? You know, like
Yeah.
especially for us because like, you know, basically our favorite bands are like, you know, the Clean and the Bats and stuff. It's like that's our favorite music ever
Right.
internationally out of anything. So it's like and for us like our dream is we've sort of like this is our dream almost like it'd be cool to be like humongous band or whatever, but like being on Flying Nun, it's actually like our dream since we were like probably 15 years old or something, listening to those tunes. So like pretty epic. But yeah, it is certainly the first few years it was like, whoa, far out. Like, because I think when they first, I think maybe it was 2011, 2012, they brought it back off Warner's, and then Roger Shepard was like, we're going to sign some new bands, you know?
Yep.
And they signed like us, Grayson Gilmore, T54, and like one other band that was a little bit a slightly different genre. I can't remember what they're called. They're pretty rad though. And we were just like, oh man, there's only like 5 bands or whatever.
Yeah.
One of them shit.
Okay. But
Yeah.
And do they
it's kinda-
did it give you
it's like-
guidance? Do they tell you what they
Nah,
think you should
it's
be
all-
doing, or
Nah,
Nothing
they're
like that?
epic.
Like,
They're
well, we
like,
might
do
be
what
like,
you want to do, man.
Right?
Yeah.
we might be like, holy moly, you know, still kind of realizing, you know, we're on Flying Nun. It's incredible, and like, oh yeah, as you say, are we up to it, or like, but it's maybe a thought, but it's sort of you realize like you catch up with Roger and everyone there, and they're just like, cool, just do your thing. Literally, not one suggestion at all.
Roger
like
was
we
kind
just-
of like, I remember Roger was like, when we met with him, he was like, he talked, you know, just do your stuff, you know, and he talked a lot about, in his experience, how he had seen like almost like crazes happen, like where someone that wasn't really the in sound becomes the in sound,
Yeah.
and then isn't the in sound, and then, you know, and he was just like, a lot of it's like over time, like it'll become like maybe you're the craze, maybe you're not,
Yep.
but like how things just come in
Yeah.
like waves. Yeah.
I remember that chat. It was at a bar when we caught up with him, and
Yeah.
and that was sort of like, sweet. So he's basically saying like it could go crazy, could not go crazy.
Yeah.
It could just be a timing difference. It was another time it could have gone crazy. So he's like, don't worry, just do your thing, and if it goes crazy, sweet. If not,
Yeah.
all good.
Yeah.
So
So that was kind of like quite
in this
relaxing and intense.
time and age and environment, what determines what you think the album is a success? You know, what makes it a success
Good
to you?
question, eh?
That's a good question. Yeah. I think,
It's- yeah, it's
primarily
tricky,
for
eh?
us, I think going back to as a band, primarily we're good mates, we surf together and make music, and that's like the main thing, having fun. And then also like love playing shows and just going for it and like making records and hope, you know, great if they go really well. But I guess we're not hanging on that. It's more just keeping it fun. It's not to say that you don't like, you really like that stuff. It's heaps of fun when you release a record and if it gets some plays, it's, but we're not hanging on that. So probably the success would be making sure we're having fun,
Still
doing it
enjoying
as well.
Yeah.
Doing
the
it, like,
the
actually
external
writing
stuff though
songs.
is real tricky though, eh? Like because like we've yeah, I guess I won't name bands, but it's like we've had scenarios where we've opened for a band from overseas that's got like 4 millions of plays on Spotify, and then open for them and it's been like pretty quiet, you know,
Yep.
gig. So it doesn't necessarily mean in New Zealand, it's probably because it's New Zealand,
Yeah, I
that
think
it's going to be like massive. And it's same with like the song on Spotify for us that has the most plays is the song called Holiday.
Yep.
And the real reason why is simply because the Pixies shared it.
Right.
And once they shared it, it just went mental.
Right.
And so it's like, it's little things like that, which it just has a massive effect on like what happens out there. Like it would be like if Ed Sheeran or something shared a track, would probably have 1 million plays like across like the next 3 months.
Right.
But it doesn't necessarily mean that the record's more successful, you know?
Yep.
So you got to be careful, eh? And it's a real good question what you're saying. I don't really know how to answer it.
Do you expect to make any money ever?
No, I mean, we don't really. Nah, like that stuff's not in the equation for us at all.
Right.
Yeah, we kind of know it'd have to be absolutely crazy to actually get into that
Yeah.
scenario. So
We can
when that
see
time
from
comes, if it comes, sweet. Otherwise, we're not sort of like checking a bank balance because don't do that. It's not healthy.
Yeah.
we can see from like last night was a pretty good show for us. Like a lot of people came. It was epic, and you can see like there was some money, but you can see like far out that was like a big show for us. It's not like huge money, you know, like that. You kind of see like shit to like nail this. It needs to be pretty big stuff, you know, like yeah. And you can see why people are doing it every night, and that's when it adds up. You know, doing it every night, going hard. And it's like right now I'm like, shit, I'm pretty sassed from like 2 gigs this week.
And have you
But
done
a lot
much
of it's
overseas
like,
work? Have you played in the States and Europe or anything?
Nah, we've never gone.
No. I think on our Bandcamp and a couple of things where it sort of shows you where people are buying it from, just what country, and I think it's mostly the US.
Yeah, both Spotify and that. It's over there.
Which is
but
cool,
it doesn't mean that. It's just probably because there's more people though as well. I think it is a factor, but it's probably just bigger population as well that influences it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's wrap this up. We'll get some sleep.
Yeah.
But what are you looking forward to next with the band doing tomorrow or next week or next year? What do you want to be doing?
Oh, we're pretty stoked on next weekend, playing in Raglan.
Oh, there you go.
Surfboards with us. Yeah. Never played in Raglan. Yeah, it's sick that there's a venue there. Yeah.
They do some surfing down there, don't they?
Shit, yeah. It's probably best
World
waves
class.
in New Zealand, probably.
Yeah, some of the best waves.
Like
in the
arguably,
world,
yeah.
Yeah, it's funny from the show. There was a bunch of people that are like, "We're coming down. It's awesome." So a dude we met at, we opened for Crumb, which was amazing. That show cranked on Tuesday, just this week been.
Right.
And this guy touched down from the States that day, and he's like, he saw Crumb with their music gear. He's like, "Is that actually?" He's like, "Can't be." He's like, "Oh, holy moly!" And then he was yarning to them, couldn't believe they were talking to them. And then he's like, "Well, we're playing tonight." So he came to the Crumb show. We met that dude there, and he's like, "When you guys play next?"
Yeah, you
So
enjoyed
it's
our
like
show.
Saturday,
Cool.
he's like double header, and then last night is like, "Oh, I'm keen to come for the triple header," so he's coming to Raglan with us. He's like,
It's all
in less
happening
than
in
2 weeks
Raglan,
to
man.
Yeah.
All righty.
Seeing us 3 times in less than 2 weeks.
No worries. Thanks so much, Marty.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
Man.
Thanks so
Cheers,
good,
man.
mate.
Good day.
Cheers, mate.
See ya.
You
Bye.
too. See you, bye.